Welcome to O1R Psychic Radio. You're here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast. For those of you that are in the Northern Hemisphere and enjoying summer, I'm really, really envious. We're in the middle of a really cold snap here, and I don't like the cold. I'm really sort of quite bad-tempered when it gets cold, particularly when the morning's down close to freezing. It's been the last couple of mornings. But anyway, enough of my grumbling for the day. We've had a very, very interesting week. I mean, we've still got people battling fires, and we've still got, people struggling with the bridge disaster in Greece, and I'm sure there's too many things for us to mention around the world. But one of the major things that's happened in the last week, that we did lose our most amazing lady. We lost Aretha Franklin, and, the Queen of Soul, the Queen of everything. We do nothing but give her respect and maybe say a little prayer. And, it was a tragedy. We all knew it was coming, but it really did tug at my heartstrings, and I've watched lots and lots of stuff on cable about her amazing life, and I just cannot say enough about that amazing woman. Anyway, to kick the show off, as we always do, we have the Simply Tarot card of the week. This week we've got the Fool. Now, the Fool is good friends and happiness, needing to take a giant leap forward. Sometimes when you look at this card, you can see the man standing on the edge of the cliff. He's got his dog and he's got his swag, and he's sort of on the edge of a precipice or a cliff, and he's just sort of standing there, and you think, well, why would somebody be standing there with all their worldly possessions and their best friend and sort of just admiring the scenery? Well, it is that time of contemplation, look before you leap sort of thing. Look at the things that you've got in your life, that you're in a really comfortable spot, and what you can achieve now is to take those giant leaps of faith, move forward, do something different, break yourself out of your comfort zones, make it a time that is really going to work for you. I don't know about you guys personally, but I've certainly had an extremely busy week, and it's been a week of a number of endings and changes and transformations. And it's almost like the full moon, which is coming this Sunday, the 26th, in Pisces. It already hit like about 7 or 10 days early. So for here in Australia, and I just want to have a quick little self-indulgent moment, Psychic TV, that I was a major part of for many, many years, closed its doors this week in its 8th year. That was an amazing television show that gave a lot of psychics in Australia the opportunity to come and discuss what they do and how they perform and work with the viewers. And it was in the middle of the night, so it took a lot of effort from everybody that was part of the show. Can I just say a big shout out, a thank you to all the psychics that I worked with on the show over the years, and most importantly, all our viewers. So you can all now come across to A1R Psychic Radio and see what we do over here on Moonstruck TV 3 nights a week. So I'm sure we're going to be sort of opening up new doors and moving into new things. Now, that leads me into this week. We've got the full moon in Pisces. Now, the full moon in Pisces is going to be Sunday the 26th. Now, it's technically known as the cycle where we look at Pisces being the 12th sign, being the end of the zodiac run, of being sort of like the dustbin, or where we collect everything together before we release and let go of it. Now, I think it's really, really interesting that Pisces is starting to have a major effect on lots of things around the world at the moment. People are certainly sort of looking at what they need to change in their life, what they're ready to release. And I think it's going to be a major purge of things that maybe we were hanging on to too tightly over this last 12 months or even beyond, that you're now ready to let go of. Now, isn't this an amazing time where we feel comfortable enough in ourselves that we've taken everything out of the situation that we need, and we can happily just sort of set it free? I think it's a very powerful full moon this time, probably a little bit more powerful than some of the other ones we've seen earlier this year, where we've had blood moons and we've had lunar eclipses and we've had this and that and the other. I personally think this one is going to be a full moon to remember. So can I encourage you really well and truly to really start getting your list together for your full moon releasing ceremony that you're going to have on the weekend. Whether you have one of my full moon candles or whether you work with one of your own, it really doesn't matter. The important thing is to get your list happening. The things that you want to release on this full moon, things that are final, things that you can say, I no longer need to have this in my life. I'm ready to set it free with no emotion, no malice, no hatred, no excitement, no anything. It's completed. It's time for it to be free. So what you would do is you'd get your full moon candle, you would write your list, you'd pop your list underneath your candle, always popping your candle on a coaster, never putting it directly on the furniture, because as I've spoken about many times before on the show, the glass containers themselves actually get hot. The soy wax itself doesn't, but the glass container can get hot, and sometimes they can crack. So if you put it on a coaster, you've got less chance of that happening, but you've also got less chance of scorching your furniture too, which a lot of us still have beautiful timber furniture, and it's important we don't want to damage it. So with these extra large candles, what I like to do is burn one wick one side, like the other wick the second day. That way you get a longer burn time. And I also feel that you have less chance of the candle itself sort of with the changes in temperature cracking. So if you burn both wicks, you'll get approximately 60-hour burn time. If you burn alternate wicks, you'll get up to 100 hours. So we need to write a couple of lists because we need to be working with the full moon candle. Then for those of you that have the water sign candle, you would be lighting the water sign candle too, also because it's Pisces. So we have the second list. Same situation applies, 2 wicks, where you sort of burn them on alternate situations, and they just have such a lovely fragrance. And I know the full moon one has got cinnamon in it, and Montego Bay is the water sign one, but I know there's a few more ingredients that go into the full moon one that have slipped my memory today. Okay, so for those of you that might want a smaller kit, this is the travel kit. I've made this one up today of 2 water signs and a full moon in the middle. It's your choice at the checkout what type of candles you'd like to put in your travel kit. These will burn for approximately 15 hours. They have a nice little glass lid. They're easy for travel, compact enough to take to the office. And again, same rules apply. Pop them on a coaster, write your list. Read your list out aloud as you're going to light your candle so that you really intensify the energy that you're working with. If you don't have one of my candles, you need to sit there and massage your candle or stroke your candle and infuse it with the energy of what you want it to work for you. So for those of you that don't wish to work with a candle but still want to work with the energy, can I suggest a melt warmer? These are wax warmers. You can pick them up in the supermarket here in Australia around about $15, so they'd be probably around about the same price or a little bit cheaper overseas. Take a half a teaspoon of your candle and put it into the melt warmer. Again, same rules apply, placing it on a coaster, reading your list out aloud as you turn the wax warmer on. I use 2 in my house every day. I use one in my office with protection, but I always have a secondary one going in my dining room where I do a lot of my admin work. And at the moment, in the next couple of days, I will be working towards my full moon in Pisces, and I will be starting tomorrow because I like to work with 3 days on the approach of the full moon, before the full moon, 3 days of the full moon, and then 2 days past the full moon. So it's 2 or 3 days on the approach, 3 days of the full moon, and then 2 or 3 days on the descending side of the full moon. And that way I feel that you get the maximum energy and the maximum release that you want to be focusing on this time because it's a little bit more powerful. I'm going to give it maybe 4 days. I'm going to start today because I really want to sort of release a number of things, a number of endings that have happened in my life recently, and I want to make sure that I release them on this full moon. So it's always a good time to do that. And you can put the both types of wax in your melt warmer. I will be using water sign for Pisces, and I'll be using the full moon. So let's get on to other things that are happening around the universe this week. It's a very, very, very busy week in the universe at the moment. And I know for a lot of you that follow politics wherever you are around the world, and I don't get much chance to catch up on everybody, but I will sort of highlight a couple of things that I've noticed in the last 24 hours. And it's because of these reasons. We have the planet Mars, which is said to be conjunct or holding hands. So Mars is the planet of action, holding hands or holding hands with the planet of transformation, which is Pluto. Now, Pluto is the planet of transformation. Pluto is the one that really sort of is slow, deliberate, and definite. So when you see Pluto in a chart, it's where we need to learn lessons that are actually slow growing, that are things that are going to take us a little bit of time. And it's something that we need to be aware of. So what we need to be aware of at the moment is that there's a real push to get everything sort of sorted out at the moment. And this is more on a global scale. This is more on a political or a government front. So what I have noticed by watching a little bit of CNN before I came on the show today was that you guys are having some really major dramas over there with your President Trump and people getting into trouble and people sort of saying, oh, gee, I put my hand up, I lied, I did this, that and the other. And it's going to be an ongoing issue for you guys that whether or not your president is going to be in serious trouble or is it just the people that he trusted around him. Here in Australia, we've had in the last 48 hours, we've got political unrest yet again. we're about to sort of try and, vote out the sitting Prime Minister. We tried that yesterday and that didn't work, but it hasn't satisfied the natives yet. They're still all jumping up and down and carrying on about it. So we'll be heading into political unrest here for some time while they sort of sort out their schoolroom tactics at who's doing what and who likes to play with who today. So, but we'll find other things like that will be happening around the world as well, because with Mars sort of getting everybody geared up, ready to sort of go to battle, go to war, and because it's holding hands with Pluto and saying, well, okay, yeah, we deserve this, we need change, we know more than everybody else. But you've also got to be aware of, we have Uranus, the planet of action or the awakener, is also sitting in an earth sign. It's sitting in Taurus. Now, it's going to be there for a while. And Uranus, in my opinion, is always the planet that comes along and it's like pulling the tablecloth off the table trick, and hoping you don't break the china. He comes along and does that really quick, decisive action and says, oh, well, I've done my bit, now I'll go and play. So I feel that he's the one that's sort of creating these opportunities or these openings. Then I think we're seeing not so much the secondary, but the more powerful part of it unfolding is with Mars holding hands with Pluto. So just be aware of that. I think it's going to be an interesting week around the globe as we see different things surface around politics and who said what and who's in whose camp. So we'll all watch that with bated breath. Now we're going to quickly move on to our mini astrology lesson of the week. This week our featured Scorpio male singer is Keith Urban. Now I must admit I struggled to find somebody that I knew that was a male Scorpio. I try and make it somebody that everybody might be able to relate to. And it wasn't the fact that I didn't like Keith Urban, it was just I wondered whether or not there was enough people knew who he was. He's a very famous country and western singer who was actually born in New Zealand but came to Australia to live when he was very, very young, so we claimed him here as an Aussie. And, of course, he's married to the amazing actress Nicole Kidman, who a lot of you would recognise out of movies. And he's huge in the US, my producer said. Well, that's good. And so Keith Urban sort of he's been one of those amazing sort of people that's done so many things with his life. I mean, he's been a singer, he's been a songwriter, he's great in the recording. He's also got his own line of guitars and accessories now. And, I mean, just a good all-round, genuine, honest guy. And as well as being a country star, and he's been a judge on American Idol. And, yes, he is definitely married to Nicole Kidman. We really proudly fly that flag here in Australia. And it's just sort of nice to see somebody that's just a decent, down-to-earth family man who really does put his family first. And, there's been no scandals. He hasn't been involved in drugs or pornography or anything else. And it's really, really nice to just see somebody that's got some really decent values for a change. So I do take my hat off to Keith Urban. And, and I mean, he is an amazing singer. And I think he's probably motivated a lot of people to sort of just get up there and give it a go, because he didn't believe he had any talent to play guitar. It was just something that he was interested in. And look at where he's taken his career. He left Australia after about his fourth single here and headed to Nashville, sort of hoping to create the dream. And he was lucky enough to be a session guitarist for a while there before he sort of kicked off his amazing career. So it's nice when you see people that are really have followed their dream but still stayed true to themselves. And I think that's the amazing thing. And with someone being a male Scorpio, that would be very difficult because their emotions would run very deep, and it would be really difficult for them to sometimes be able to express that in a way that other people can understand. So he's certainly been able to do that, and we take a hat off to you, Keith Urban. So we're now going to take our first caller, and it's Roxanne in Mickey's Sport, Pennsylvania, USA. It's Mickey's Sport. I beg your pardon for my pronunciation. Roxanne. Okay, Mickey's Sport. Hello, Roxanne. How can we help you, sweetie?
Hello. Well, I have some complications with getting the right job I want, and wanted to know if you felt anything. My father had passed away a year ago, and there's some complications with that.
Okay, Roxanne. I always say to people it's really hard to tune in to somebody on the other side when the limited space of time we've got. If your dad wants to come through, he will interrupt. Let's just work on the things that you've asked, which is about your job situation. Look, I don't think that you've necessarily done anything wrong, Roxanne, as far as not being able to land the job that you want. I just don't think the right job's been there for you as yet. And it's sort of like, I know this is frustrating. It's sort of like, you apply for things and you think, I should have a good shot at that. And then for whatever reason, it doesn't pan out the way that you want it to. They're showing me September in a really big capital letters. So I'm going to take from that you should be able to make real progress with the job situation next month. And I feel you're going to land a job that's going to fit like a glove. I think it's going to be worth the wait. I think it'll be fairly close to home. The pay structure is good. Everything about the job and conditions is really good, and you're really happy with it. It's interesting because I know you said about your dad, and what I'm being shown is very clearly we have to let that go. Whatever the issues there were after his death with family members or whatever the situations were, he's showing me a very definite symbol of just let it go. It's not worth it. It's not worth the aggravation, the frustration, or the whatevers. So I'm taking from that everybody's got a different opinion on certain things that should have happened. And you seem to have been piggy in the middle with all this. And Dad's just sort of asking you to just let it go.
Okay.
Because I feel he feels it's blocking other areas of your life. While you're giving this so much attention, trying to keep everybody happy, you're actually taking away from you, and he just wants you to focus on you, Roxanne. I mean, he can see it all clearly, so don't worry about that. He can see everything that's gone down, who said what and who's done what, and it's not your place to try and fix it.
Yeah, I know. I was just hoping the guy that did it would get in trouble for it, that's all.
Well, you're certainly not in trouble. He just wants you to let it go and get on with living. That's his message to you. He's also brought up with me, is there talk of maybe a change of residence in 2019 or changes to where you're living?
I don't know. I moved here in October, of last year. Well, I've been here almost a year. This October will be a year.
Okay. But since you've moved there, have you really settled? I mean, have you bought somewhere? Have you settled down? Or
no, I didn't buy it. I'm renting.
Right, but he's showing me sort of like a move coming up with a real stabilisation feeling around it.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, but it's not till next year. And I'm going to say I'd be really surprised if what he's showing me comes up before March. I don't think it's sort of like, it's not the new year kicks in and all of a sudden you're in this movement phase. It's sort of like, let's bed the year in, let's get your job, get you settled in the job, and then that'll be the next part of what's unfolding for you. But he's around you every single day and he looks amazing now. He's not in any pain. He's not cranky with anybody. He's glowing. And that's what he wants me to leave that image with you, that he absolutely looks amazing.
Well, that's good. Yeah, you're right. We're fighting situations, and the guy that did it to my dad is what we were hoping to get him in trouble. That's why we were fighting still.
Yeah, but for you, I'm not saying give up the fight. I'm just saying he was asking you to personally walk away from it. Like leave it to the others or something. Like you've got too much to do. He wants you to focus on you. You've got to put your energy into getting your life right. Then we can come back and visit it. It was the way he was sort of showing it to me was too much energy was going into this and not enough into your life.
Right. He's right. That's right. You're right.
Yeah, so we work it the other way and Dad will be happy.
All right.
Okay. Lovely to speak with you, Roxanne, and good luck with the John party, sweetie. We're going to go to Joanna in Clemson in South Carolina. Are you there, Joanna?
Yes, ma'am.
How can I help you tonight, sweetie?
Oh, well, I was just making myself available for a reading.
Right. So do you have a question I can work with, Joanna?
Question. Yeah, I'm having a lot of shifting now. A lot going on with that. I just wondered if you had any insight as to direction that I may be heading as far as
Okay.
work, especially.
Mm-hmm. All right. They have shown me that a number of doors have closed this year, particularly 3 areas of your life or 3 situations that we've finally slammed the door shut on, and that's good. That's positive. I do feel, though, Joanna, I feel tired around you. Have you sort of feel like your body is dragging itself recently, that like you're not, haven't got as much energy as you used to have?
I broke my ankle, and so I've been dragging my ankle around.
Right, okay,
for
that's
about
what
a
it is,
month.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, they're showing me there's going to be major improvement in that in the next month. You won't feel like you're dragging yourself around, so that's good. I do feel that there's a new job for you, but I wish I could say it was sooner rather than later, Joanna. I'm sort of feeling as if the job situation's not coming till sort of closer to Thanksgiving. It sort of seems to be late October, early November. It's around that time. It's certainly not next month. I'm not saying don't keep looking, but I just don't think the job of your dreams is coming just yet. Has there also been a change of residence around you in the last 12 months?
Huh. No, I'm not planning on going anywhere.
No, but have you made changes in the residence where you were living, or made a change from one to
No.
another? They're just... Yeah, but changes can be
No,
something as
nothing.
simple as moving the couch or putting up a new set of drapes, or, have you done something different?
We've been working on some changes around our home and,
Okay.
and property. But,
Yeah, good. Okay.
we've been
I can
here
only
for
go with
years.
the information that they're giving me, and they were giving me that there'd been some changes, or you'd moved in the last 12 months. Like you were changing the energy, you were changing everything, your environment around you, and that's a good sign. That means that you're right on target for where they want you to be, so that there will be, I think, the remainder of 2018, Joanna, is just about tidying up what you've already started. And in that, I would put the job change. I don't feel it's really the time to instigate new things other than the job until 2019. I think we just need to tidy up the loose ends and then be ready to sort of go forward again. 2019 is going to see you with a lot more enthusiasm and taking on some new projects next year. I actually feel you'll be out and about a lot more, and I think your new job will lead you into some further study, which will be work-related. It will be something that the company will pay for, so it's not something that you've got to worry about, how you're going to pay for it or anything like that. It'll all be part of the job description. And also, were you planning a major trip in the second half of 2019, are you?
Oh, probably. I mean, not major necessarily, but we certainly go out to Washington to visit family, Washington State, and that's a big trip every year.
I'm not saying you won't take. I'm not saying you won't take that one. I'm actually seeing another trip. I'm seeing something that's not in the usual calendar for the year. This is something sort of like, not necessarily overseas, but to me it was a major trip. It was like somewhere we've either never been before or somewhere we've talked about going for a long time, and we're going to make it happen. And I sort of felt it was going to be about August next year. It was sort of like, not just a week away somewhere, but a good 2 or 3 weeks, and we're really going to enjoy it. And it's a time for you to really sort of be at one with yourself and your husband, and just sort of like really just have some selfish time together without feeling obligated that, we take the trip to see family, but this is a trip for us. And I feel really excited about that. Yeah, and it's good because I think you both deserve this. You deserve this. Your husband and you both work very hard, and it'd be nice to see us have something for you for a change.
That would. Very much.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, so keep an open mind to that. I think it's going to be more your husband's suggestion, and you're going to think, yes, that's what we'd like to do. That'd be really nice. How are we going to make this happen? But you will make it happen, and it's good. So has he also been sort of... Has he also been sort of a little bit concerned with his job recently too? Is he sort of getting a bit fed up with it?
No, I mean, it's pretty steady. He just kind of goes in and works, and we're thankful that he has a job, and he works on a production line. So Hey,
Yeah, I don't see him losing his job. I
everything's
just sort of
fine.
felt he was a bit disillusioned or a bit cranky with it recently. It was, it was sort of getting
Yeah,
onto
well,
him a
he's
bit.
always been a bit cranky with it. He's never loved it. He's always thankful, but never loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just
It's
sort of felt the last month it had been just that little bit harder for him. But look, that's going to settle down soon. I think he'll sort of be in a better humour, which is good. He just gets
right.
cranky.
Yeah, he's
It's
been
just,
having to go
it's
in
just
at
his nature.
5 in the morning and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think things are settling down there for him. Anyway, Joanna, it was lovely to talk with you. I hope you enjoy your surprise trip next year. You both really, really deserve it.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And you have a lovely evening. I appreciate
I
your
will.
call.
Thank you very Lovely to speak with you,
Thank
sweetie. Okay, we're coming to the end of the show again. I mean, the half an hour does go very, very quickly. And can I reiterate, please be very aware of this full moon coming up on the 26th, Sunday the 26th, wherever you are on this amazing planet of ours. Make sure that you're ready to release everything from the past, that you're not going to let go of anything. It may not necessarily be an overly emotional moon where you're not going to be your emotions are going to be seesawing every which way. For some people, there may be some tears, which is part of the letting go process. But whatever you're doing, know that it's time for release. Now, next week's show, we'll have our Simply Tarot card of the week. We'll also have our little glimpse around the universe. We'll have a famous female singer next week in the sign of Scorpio. We'll have a little glimpse around the universe, see what's happening astrologically. And, of course, we'll have our candle of the week. But for those of you that might want a private reading, my website is www.amandahallpsychic.com.au. When you're at the checkout, please type in the word radio in capital letters and you will get a discount. And if you want to get a free astrology chart, please feel free to join our newsletter. We email them anywhere in the world. You're under no obligation to buy anything. We just love to share the love here at Amanda Hall Psychic. So until next week, I hope you have an absolutely amazing week. And don't forget, we all should say a little prayer for Aretha Franklin. Bye for now.